Last time on the Blondies MX5 World Tour. And the green flag is out.
Yeah, it looks like Jonathan Kier tried to get a good jump start, and that has really gone against him. These guys are freight training him now.
You have to be a part of a pack, otherwise you will be hung out to dry here, Joe. 2 cars into the wall, 2 cars.
That's Kelvin Stallings and Jonathan Kier getting together. At the moment, Amjad Yaman has pulled himself into the lead, and they're 4 wide at the moment.
Currently, Chuck is on the outside of what looks like Simon Ears, and they're going to go 3 wide once again, and Jan Koens is going to make it 4 wide again. These guys are extremely brave. I only give it a few more laps before something goes wrong up front here.
Thomas Hallonen just did kiss the wall slightly.
You can see there's a lot of dice. Whoa, someone's got a little bobble ahead of Dexter there.
And there we have some contact between Marcus Lambert and Thomas Hallonen. As he makes a move on the inside, he's onto the grass, battling with Chuck Johnson and Thomas Hallonen out front there.
And we've got an accident. Cars are rolling over. Simon Ayres was involved in that. Dexter Castro was involved in that. Henry Conant. We've got Christopher Thompson, who also got collected. That's 4 more cars gone.
Now the attrition is starting to play a part in this race, Joe.
There was a wreck entering the pit, and there's multiple cars trying to avoid one another.
I think the cause for that was some contact between Tom Ratchey and Arcadius Tedricks.
There's someone in front of Jan Koens who's got a smoking car. And cars are starting to exit right now. Currently, first one out is Jan Koens. Let's see what his lap is going to look like. It was a 1:12.4 this time by. What's the second pack looking like?
Yeah, they're running about 1:12.0s. At this pace, I'm not sure if they can catch up to Jan by the end of this race. And I'm looking at the fastest cars on the track right now are Lojuel, Jean Koeneman, and David Schaefer. And these guys are using a very interesting strategy, almost running a second faster than the other drivers. They're just doing a simple slingshot. One driver gets a run on the straight, and the other driver just shoots by on the inside, and then they're both single file by the time you get to the corners. That was 2 full seconds faster than the guys in front, and you can see the distance now. They've caught onto that pack, and I'm interested to see if they can get by this pack and hunt down Jan Koens in the lead.
We are on lap 32, only 8 laps to go. We're getting down to the very end. It was 6.9 last time by, so these guys are very much gaining on the leader of Jan Koens. It is the white flag. It is the final lap. Oh, there was a bobble. Matthew Baker moves to the outside. He's touched the wall. He is out of it. In the meantime, Jan Koens takes the checkered flag at the line. Who is going to have it? And it looks like Stefan Maurier just eked out Marcus Lambert at the line by 3/100ths of a second. But definitely an exciting race. Jan Koens takes home the win with Stefan Maurier in second and Marcus Lambert in third. Jan Koeneman comes home fourth and Benjamin Lanouette in fifth.
Hello and welcome to round 9 of the Blondies MX5 World Tour, live on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman, and alongside me in the booth is Ayrton Ellis. Down in the pits we have Joe Peak, and behind the scenes doing all the button pushing is Giancarlo Lenzi. So here we are at Okayama International Circuit, an 11-turn track located in Japan. These drivers will be doing 24 laps here today, and there's plenty of overtaking opportunities and times looking very close in practice and qualifying, so it should be an exciting race. After being wrecked out at Indianapolis, Yaman has now lost the points lead to Koens. And now it's going to be up to Koens to try and hang on to the points lead at this exciting race here at Okayama. Let's have a look around the track, narrated by Joseph Peak.
Alrighty, we're getting ready to do a lap around Okayama International Raceway. We're coming down the front straight here, heading towards the start-finish line, which is very late on this lap. Coming into the braking zone at turn 1, you can brake pretty late, and you can get on the power pretty early. Come around this right-hander, tend to get a few pile-ups here and there on that corner. Then the left-hander here at turn 2, you gotta not be too greedy on that curbing. It can unsettle your car. You can see I had a little bit of that there, but it's a very fast corner. And you got these left and right S's here. These are turn 3, the Moss S. Then very hard braking for corner 4, which is Atwood Curve. Now this is a very interesting corner because it's got a very sharp entry and a very wide exit. It just opens up and you can get on the gas pretty early, but it's still a bit of a passing zone. Then it's going to dump you out on the back straight here. As you can see, that uphill just brings you leveled out on top. You got a little bit of a kink there, and you want to spot your braking zone into the biggest passing zone you're going to see on the whole circuit. At turn 5, the hairpin, 180 degree. It's going to bring you around with a little bit of banking. Then you got turn 6. You got to be not too greedy on that curbing as well. It can give you a bit of oversteer on the exit. Then you've got turn 7, which the car is going to do the opposite. It's going to tend to want to push if you get too greedy on that one. So coming around to turn 8. Now this is going to be a series of very slow corners. There's a bit of an opportunity to pass, very sneaky, but not quite much of one. Uphill on this right-hander here. Get on the power as soon as you can because you're going to be on the gas for a little while here. This is flat out through this right-hander, turn 10. Then dab the brakes just a little bit right there. Come through the very fast final right-hander, going to be in 4th gear there. Dumps you out on the front straightaway, and you complete your lap around Okayama.
Very nice lap there by Joseph Peak. Let's have a quick look at our point standings as we come into this 9th round of the championship. Like I say, Yarmin unfortunately had a 15th place finish at Indianapolis after being involved in an incident on pit road entry. So Koumans now has a 38-point lead over him. You also see Rato and Freitas close behind. Freitas says he believes he has the pace to outpace Koumans here at Okayama. We'll see if that is the case in about 24 laps time. Qualifying is just wrapping up, and it looks like Koumans has a edge over Freitas, faster than him in practice and qualifying. So I'm going to ask Ayrton, you've raced against a few of these guys before. Who do you think has the best chance of winning here today?
Well, obviously, both guys are very fast, and both of them have proved. Jan, in previous season, has won 2 out of the 4 races that he has attended in this series. João Freitas and Guilherme Rato, actually, Guilherme Rato was here last season, had a pretty good showing, but João Freitas, this is his first race in this series at the lawn course here. He won the season opening here at Okayama Short, so I think he definitely has some good pace at this track. And he's not far off in pace in qualifying and practice so far from Koumans.
Yeah, but it looks like he will be starting behind him. It's going to be a run down to the first corner. Whoever takes the lead into the first turn, how long do you think it's going to be before the guy in second has got to think, hey, I've got to make a move here? Can they hand in the draft, or have they got to go for that first spot?
I think the backstretch is definitely going to be a big passing zone for many of these drivers. That's where the group normally bunches up, and an important exit out of that turn 4 is very big, and that's the best place for a passing zone. Best way to make an easy pass. You can make one on the outside or inside coming into the hairpin, and I think that is where João Freitas, Guilherme Rato, Thomas Holland, and those guys behind Jan Koumans should be making their moves.
Alright, well, gridding is just beginning, qualifying is finished, so let's take a look at the qualifying order. We have already documented the front row is Jan Koumans and João Freitas. The gap between them about 0.3 of a second. Rato and Hallinan on the second row of the grid, followed by Yarmin and Castro on row 3. After that, Ayrton, who have we got?
We have Georgianis in 7th place, lined up next to him is Simon Palmer, making his race debut in this series. He's a very fast driver. I know him personally. And Arthur Chan is behind him in 9th, and Stefan Morian in 10th place. Jim A. Boland in 11th, and Trevor Mack, another newcomer, in 12th.
All right, and of course about 30 cars in this field. We'll have timing and scoring up. Once the race starts, you'll get to see where your favourite driver is starting. The field gridding up, the drivers telling each other good luck, and Koemans and Frieders have the best view of it going down into the first corner. It really is going to be a matter of who gets the least amount of wheel spin, who gets the best launch, who gets up through the gears quickest going into turn 1, because, you know, I really don't know who to pick out of these two. And we got about 30 more seconds before there you go. So let's ask Joe Peak. Joe, who's your pick for the win here?
I'm actually going to say Jan Koemans because, I think I hear a few cars revving up. Just stop me if we got to get going. But I noticed that Yao was hanging in the draft of Jan, and yet he still wasn't able to get anywhere closer than 3/10.
All right, lights are up. Field are getting revved up. Lights are off and away we go. Koemans looks like he got a good launch, and Frieders is going to have to filter into line behind him. We'll see if he can make a pass later on around the lap, but for now let's see if he can even hang on to second. Driver looking under him there, but he's able to do it. So the field right now, at least the top two, the same as they were at the start of the race. Koemans already building up a bit of a lead over Frieders, and it looks like the rest of the field have gotten through turn 1 cleanly at the least, but they're still side by side going through turns 2 and on their way down to the ever so important upward curve. Remember, if you get a good exit out of here, you can make really good passes. It's a really good overtaking zone coming down the straight here and into the hairpin. Koemans has no pressure from behind. The rest of the field, though, can't say the same. Frieders with a couple of cars behind him. I believe that's Rato in the Blondies paint scheme in 3rd. There's a crash. Where? Oh, yes.
It's Tori Tesla.
Frieders goes off. Frieders is off from 2nd. Rato's up into 2nd. Sorry, and you're saying Tesla's off?
Yeah, big contact between Tori Tesla and Arcadius Tedderix on the backstretch, causing Tori Tesla in his first race to get spun around in the first lap.
Young Koemans, Green Hair Rato, Thomas Hallinan, Andred Yarmin, and then your 5th place driver just made a bit of a mistake there. Who's that coming up on the outside there? That's Arthur Tran. Arthur Tran has just made a move into 5th place when the driver in front of him got the bobble. But it's going to be Koemans leading them around to complete the first lap. And Frieders, who said that this was the place to beat him at, has fallen far back in the field after making a mistake at the hairpin on the opening lap of the race. And it has cost him a bunch of time.
Meanwhile, he's behind the 2 drivers of Gere Janis and Arthur Chan. These guys are very close at the moment. I think the closest guy is in the top 10. There's still a train of
collision
guys
in turn 1. Chuck Johnson gets sideways. I don't think there's a lot of cars in it. Jim A. Boland and Chuck Johnson, I believe, made contact coming out of turn 1. It looks like most of the field were able to get around them, though.
I do notice that Scott Malcolm did get mixed up with someone in turn 1 as well.
Thomas Hallinan in Green Rato's draft for 2nd place. It looks like he's too far back to make a move right now, though. But that's good because where was he on the grid? Where was Hallinan on the grid?
He started in 4th place, right behind Guillermo Rato.
And Yarmin in 4th started 5th. So all these drivers have picked up one spot when Frieders made that big mistake on the hairpin at lap 1. So already a bit of excitement, not the kind that these drivers are wanting to see on the opening laps. It's smooth sailing up front though, and we got a battle for 5th. Arthur Tran drives it in a little high, and he gets spun.
And Jeff Freitas has collision with Dexter Castro right afterwards, and both of them go spinning around.
Yeah, this is not good. There's still cars going slow in the middle of a circuit. It looks like there are no more incidents though, but that started with Arthur Tran trying to hold off a challenge for 5th place. He got tagged he got sideways, then he got tagged from behind. And like I say, a couple more drivers, including Dexter Castro, involved in that.
And João Freitas is now exited out of his car, and I believe he's out of the race now.
Yeah, 2 incidents in the early going. That's the problem when you make a mistake and you get behind drivers that you are a bit faster than. You may be able to pass them, but if you can't do it in time, you get caught up in their mess. Well, all of a sudden, we got the problem in that Koemans is leading the race, he's leading the points, and he's running away with it.
Well, down in the pits, I see that Mihai Mesesson looks like he got caught up in that as well. He's coming in to repair some damage. In the meantime, Tesla has exited out. He tried to get back on the track, but his car was too far gone.
Yeah, this 3-car pack for second still remains, Rato, Halonen and Yarmin, and then they've got a bit of a gap back to the new 5th place driver, I believe, is Janis, who started...
He started in 7th place, so he's had gained 2 positions in the first 2-lap mayhem. Janis.
Yeah, so... Freitas, I'm apologising for one of the earlier incidents. He has exited out. Tori Tesla, one of the promising new rookies, he unfortunately has also left the building. So a couple of big names who are already out of this race, certain.
But there's still tons of excitement. I've seen a lot of battles everywhere. There has been quite a lot of mixing up from the qualifying grid. Simon Palmer has dropped back from... actually, he hasn't dropped back. He stayed, maintained his position. He's having a battle with Trevor Mack in front of him, who he's gained quite a few positions.
Lap 3 completed. Race order. Jan Koemans leads Freitas. Rato, Halonen and Yarmin are the top 10. Then Dexter Castro is still in the race. He's... oh, sorry, I'm reading the qualifying order. Sorry, top 5 is Koemans, Rado, Halonen, Yarmin and Rana. Sorry about that, had the wrong screen open there. Koemans has already pulled out to a 2.5 second lead over Rato. And Simon Palmer, one of the promising new rookies, he currently sits 4th in the iRacing GT Cup Series. He is running down in 9th after being able to make his way through the opening mayhem. His car looks pretty clean. Probably lost a bit of time through all of it though. Currently running behind Trevor Mack in 8th place. So what do you think right now, Joe? Koemans has gotten about a 2.5 second lead over Ralto, who's gonna be held up, if not now, a bit later, because he's got Halonen and Yarmin right on his rear bumper. We saw Yarmin won the race here at Okayama Short, so maybe he could play a bit of pit strategy in here and get up front. But I mean, is there any stopping Koemans at this rate?
I really don't think so, and you know, that's partly why I picked him, because even on a bad day, you know, we saw Laguna Seca when he was going off, he still managed to come back and win this thing, as we see, looks like Guilherme Rato is actually going a bit defensive from Tuomas Halonen, which you mentioned earlier, so he definitely feels under threat.
Yes, he definitely does. After all the opening laps incidents, it looks like we have about 31 cars left on the lead lap. This is 2nd through 4th right here. You're watching now. Rato, Halonen and Yarmin been pretty much this way since the start. And rounding out the top 10, like I say, Dranis is in 5th, and then we got Morian, Macaleer, Mac, Palmer and Ratstri. Now, Stefan Morian, I believe, after Indianapolis, there's multiple awards awarded to drivers in the Blondies League, and I believe Stefan Morian is the Iron Man currently. No, he's not. I'll try and get back to you on that.
We'll see if we can dig up some stats. But man, this is a pretty intense battle for third here, because we've actually got Amjad Yaman, the doctor, who won the first race here at Okayama, so he knows his way around at least the short version of this track. And these guys are just 1, 2, 3 behind each other between second and fourth position as they come through turns 8 and 9 right now. So I wouldn't put it past Amjad to pull another one of his signature moves and maybe nip a couple more positions in the pit stops.
And Trevor Mack running wide in 8th, but there's more battles behind him right on his rear bumper, Simon Palmer. Then there's about a second back to Thomas Rauchtree, but then a huge battle for 11th between Eric Garcia in the Blondies paint scheme, John Kuhneman and Joseph Aero. Still not a whole lot of change up front. And I did a bit of research with this Stefan Morian, who is the Iron Man currently. And also, let's give a shout out to Arcadius Telerix while we're at it, who has attended in over 50 Blondies races right now, currently running in 19th place. Looks like these drivers are single file for now, but I don't know if it's going to stay that way forever. There's plenty of overtaking opportunities here at Okayama, and you can never be sure. One of these drivers will surely take advantage of one of them soon.
Yeah, and I'm watching that battle that you mentioned between Eric Garcia and John Kuhneman. Eric is going off all over the place. He's driving a little sloppy, if I may say so. And that's kind of got John Kuhneman taking looks here and there, but I think he's probably going to wait it out and just wait for a mistake. And as I say that, he's got a really good run on Eric coming down the back straightaway right now. So I'm pretty sure you're going to see him dive to the inside here.
Meanwhile, keep the camera on that action, because there's been no change in the battle for second, but they got very close. Thomas Allonen actually ran up the back of Rato going into the hairpin. No damage, I don't think, but it was a bit of a scary moment, and Yamin, the doctor, I'm sure, doesn't want to heal any of that damage. He'd be quite happy for these two drivers to race each other, and he'll go up into second.
And John Kuhneman, as you were talking, took a try, and he's going to take another try coming into 8 here. He's got the inside this time. He's just got to get by him because he's going to be vulnerable on the outside. Eric's
Who's that off?
trying to take a look.
Someone went off a couple of cars in front of him. Trevor Mack.
Oh, there's contact.
Yeah,
There's
Eric Garcia
cars.
spun John Kuhneman. Kuhneman tries to get back on track in front of Castro. Those two make contact. And, yeah, probably a couple of words going to be exchanged about that one.
Yeah, I saw Dexter Castro get involved in that. Joseph Aero got involved in that. Looks like Mikael Gustafsson ran into... It was just a chain reaction between all of them.
Unfortunately, it seems we've seen a lot of those in the opening laps here. I mean, I thought Indianapolis was going to be the Wreckfest last week, which it a little bit was with that whole pit road entry scuffle, or whatever you want to call it. Rato and Hallinan, their battle continues cleanly for now. Like I say, though, it's going to be interesting watching in the hairpin this time, because we saw Hallinan got in, and Rato's backing off. He is letting Hallinan go into second place. So change for second, Thomas Hallinan. We haven't seen a whole lot of him this series, but he is fast, and he's showing it right now.
Yeah, Hallinan's really surprised me the way he is just suddenly showed himself up at the front. We saw him at Indianapolis. I don't remember seeing much of him before that. But whatever happened, his courage has certainly increased. And I was watching Rato. He definitely seemed to have intentionally lifted off. I'm not sure what he's trying to do there.
Well, maybe he's thinking we can try and catch up with Koemans. Maybe he's saying, Thomas, you're faster, I'll draft you, let's see if we can close this 4-second gap down. It's an ambitious decision. I don't know if it's going to work, but you know, never know. Maybe Yarman's back there saying, hey guys, why don't we try that with me out in front? But we'll have to keep a close eye on the lap times. Jan Koemans comes over the line, and his lap time is a 1 minute 48.7. What's the lap time of the driver in second?
That'd be Thomas Hallinan. He had a 1:49.1, so they are definitely not closing at the moment. But as we saw, he had to get by Rato. I don't think that should have slowed him down, but there could have been effects that came into play, because they've actually got Mihai Masesson right in front of them right now. He could hold them up if he's not careful.
Yeah, he could. And right behind us, we got Drownis and Tedorix. I believe are running 5th and 6th. Are quite close together on track. And then 7th and 8th are also running quite close together. And as our friend Richard Lovesper would say, it's all happening.
Absolutely. Yeah, this battle is definitely going to be an intriguing one. I'm kind of keeping an eye on Rato to see if he's going to try anything, and he actually backs out just a little bit. So he's holding station. I think you might have made the right call that he thought that Hallinan was faster than him, and it's just better to kind of fall back in line. In the meantime, do you see any other battles farther in the back?
Well, like I say, pretty much all through the top 10, they're 2 by 2, like Noah's Ark, going around the hairpin, everyone too intelligent. And then there's a 3-car pack between Chuck Johnson, Joseph Era, and Michael Gustafsson happening just outside the top 10, I believe.
And it sounds like Arthur Chan is actually pitted, so that's some new information for us to keep track of.
Yeah, because Arthur was pretty fast in practice, up in the top 10 definitely. He qualified 9th on the grid. I don't know if he was involved in any of those opening incidents, but certainly playing the strategy card. I mean, they're coming around to complete lap 8 now, so it's going to be nip and tuck whether he can make it to the end of the race. Remember, these drivers only have a limited fuel capacity, 3.6 gallons for the Blondies. That goes for every track they go to. And yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how Arthur plays out in all of this. We haven't mentioned him in the championship, but he's doing pretty good. He's got 1 win. He's sitting 5th in the points, and he's a rookie. So he certainly has nothing to be ashamed of when he leaves this season at the end of the season.
Yeah, and Arthur's always been kind of fast as I've watched him in the CESCS. It turns out he got punted off by João Freitas, from what I'm being told by our spotter. So apparently he has not had it all his way this race, and that tends to be the story of Arthur Chan's life. He's currently sitting 30th from what I see, so he's got a lot of work to do on lap 9.
Stefan Morian in 6th, I believe that is, running up behind Drownis, but he holds station for now, keeping in 5th and 6th, keeping in that draft, but still a 1 minute 49.4 is Drownis's fastest lap, which he did last time around. So they are losing ground on the cars in front of him, and you got to wonder if Morian's going to say, hey, let's try it with me up front and see if we can catch up with the guys ahead of us.
Well, early pit stops seem to be coming into play because Kelvin Stallings has dived in as well as Schaefer. So we're only, as I said, about lap 9 and 24-lap race. So I think they're banking on getting early pit stops out of the way and jumping a few people.
Yarmin is in from 4th. The Doctor is coming into the pit road. He goes by the yellow cones. Now it's going to be interesting seeing these cars are pitted a lot like the NASCAR Cup cars you watch on TV. They do left sides or right sides or both sides. So we'll pay attention to what sides of the car go up and how many tires he's taking and how that compares with the other cars. This is a clockwise circuit, so maybe he's just taking lefts. Left side up in the air right now, down, waiting on fuel. Yep, left side's only, and Yarman's out.
In the meantime, Dexter Castro is also pitted, and unfortunately, he entered too late. There is a weird pit entry here, and you can get a penalty for that. He's most likely going to be black flagged.
Palmer and McAleer having a battle between themselves in the top 10, running side by side into the upward curve, giving each other plenty of room though. Although Palmer comes across on him on the backstretch as they run down to the hairpin. McAleer's got the desired line here. He's on the inside line as we watch pit stops taking place still. McAleer, he has a nose in front, and it looks like it's a change from position here. Simon Palmer, sorry if I called him Scott Palmer, is going to surrender the position, and McAleer goes on by him, and that is for 6th place.
Yeah. And McAleer actually got a little bit of new equipment. I know we mentioned a few races ago that he was having some problems with that with his wheel, so he did get some new pedals for that car. Now keep an eye on that passing zone into the hairpin, because even though Palmer had backed out, it is very much possible to hold on to your position because of that banking, and because the next corner is an opposite direction, a left-hander. So I've, many a times when I did not want to give up a position, I've held on and managed to defend successfully from the outside.
Yeah, Lowell Jewell and Andy Morgan were just having a similar battle. It's for 19th place right now. Henry Canant behind them, giving them a little room to race right now. So there's a nice little pack forming there on the edge of the top 20.
Oh,
and Henry Canant, it goes off.
Yeah, Henry hasn't been having the best of days. He started pretty far down. Although, I will say he was up to 21st before that spin, so maybe things aren't too bad. He's just got to cut those mistakes out, keep the car pointed forward, and he could make something of this.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we mentioned this, but Maurien has gone by Johannes for fourth position, well, what would have been fifth position. It's now fourth position, though, because of Yarman's pit stop. So Maurien up into the top 5, and he has only finished in the top 5 once this season. That was last race at Indianapolis at the oval course.
Oh, we've got another fierce battle going on as Simon Palmer is currently defending from Sam McAleer, and he's done so successfully through the hairpin. So this battle is raging on for 6th and 7th.
They're coming around to complete lap 11, so we're almost halfway. And it doesn't look like the leaders have any intention of pitting, because of course if they stay out here long enough, they won't have to take as much fuel as what Yarman did when he came in for his early pit stop. So I know we call Yarman the doctor and never question what he does, but we'll have to wait and see to the end of a race if staying out or if pitting is the best decision. Koeman's not running the fastest lap times in the world, of 1:48.8 last time around.
Yeah, well, the advantage to pitting earlier is you don't have to figure out exactly how much you can get by on refueling with, because if you know exactly how many laps you can go, you can just top the tank off and take off. You kind of take a bit of a gamble and, saying, well, is the 1.2 enough, or do I need 2.2 or what? It's a bit of a risky proposition in my mind's eye.
Yarman, I've been talking about how is his race going. We see it on screen right here. It is not going well. He has Joseph Aero and Ben Tuck in front of him. He's got by Ben Tucker now. I believe this is Ben's first race in the Blondies. He's running 15th right now. I don't think he's pit yet, though. And hopefully Aero won't be too hard for Yarman, because if you look very closely at his front bumper, Aero from that incident earlier has quite a bit of damage to the front of that Ferrari painted Shell Special Mazda Miata.
Yeah, and Amjed's car is in a lot better shape, so I suspect he's going to be quite vulnerable down this back straightaway. You're going to see him make short work of Aero as they head towards the kink here.
Yeah, so we certainly are coming down to the hairpin. Let's see if he makes a move. Is Aero going to try to defend? Yes, he is, but Yarman's down the inside. Oh, the Ferrari much late on the brakes, off into the gravel. That's going to cost Aero some spots.
Yeah, he kind of gave up the ghost there. I thought that Amjed was backing out of it. It was sort of more of a threatening move rather than an actual attempt, and then it just worked out for him. So McAleer, also I'm being told, is actually into the pits now.
Yes, he is, and he's got company. The 41 car's into the pits behind him. I believe that's Dre Johannes.
So it sounds like a lot of the leaders are starting to make their stops. 13 laps in here, which is just about exactly
Thomas
halfway.
Rattray, sorry.
That's okay. I have a hard time with his name too, but we're seeing these top guys start to play out their strategies, and Jan Koemans is still currently holding the lead. And what's interesting is, remember, we were watching that earlier battle for second. It's actually still going on, although it's still Rato behind Hallinan, and he's kind of holding position. So it's looking like they're continuing to hold on to this idea that, you know, let's not fight it out. Let's stay faster together than fighting one another. And it certainly seems to be working for them, because Stefan Morianes is a bit of a ways back.
Yeah, like you say, I think Rado's just biding his time. It's lap 13 right now. There'll be 11 laps left to go when they cross the line. And, you know, we don't speak a whole lot of Rado, but he has finished in the top 4 every single race that he's been in, except for Lime Rock, where he retired when he blew up on pit entry, and he comes down into the pits now.
Very gutsy, fast entry into the pits. I'm impressed. That's faster than I would have tried it. But he makes good of it as he comes across the cone, slowing down to make sure he doesn't speed in pit lane. Morian is coming in after him as well. You'll see him on the screen. And let's see if these guys are going to take left and rights or what. I'm not sure. Actually, I haven't been able to watch very closely with all the action going on what the tire situation has been looking like.
Well, yeah, and one driver who's making his way up just outside the top 5 right now because everyone's making their stops, Simon Palmer, just one of many new drivers we have in the series today. And you have to begin to wonder, how are these guys going to fare with having a pit the Miatas, something you don't have to usually do in the iRacing series. The problem with pitting right now, and the problem when anyone pits, is that there's still traffic. I mean, Yamin, I believe it's Chuck Johnson he just worked his way by. He's still been fighting all this traffic, and he better hope he's got a good doctorate's degree, if that's where he got the name from, because he's got to work out how to keep up with Koemans and get through this traffic at the same time.
Yeah, I don't expect him really to be able to do so, because he hasn't had the pace. He was part of that second pack with Hallinan and Rato. So most likely without the draft to help them, he's going to drop back just a little bit, unless he has less problems with traffic than Rato and Hallinan does when they exit. And Hallinan still hasn't pitted, so he's currently holding second. He's about 7.5 seconds behind Jan Koemans and continues to drop lap by lap.
There's no shame in losing time to Jan Koemans, but unfortunately it doesn't help you win races in the season. You can see the ticker at the bottom of the screen right now as Koemans comes across to complete lap 14, being told by a spot in his ear 10 laps left to go. They've been 10 smooth sailing laps, but like we saw at Road Atlanta when he got together with Lewis Baboni, coming out of the final corner, anything can happen. It only takes one bad turn to turn your entire race around.
Yeah, and even though 10 laps doesn't sound like a whole lot, the lap times around here are nearly 2 minutes. So you're looking at, about, 18 minutes left in the race, which is a fair bit of time, not a whole lot, but it's not totally over yet. There's still chances for things to go wrong or moves to make.
Yeah, Simon Ayres holding up Thomas Veracci and Arkadiusz Tedorix. He comes into the pits right now in the Roadster, maybe. The Roadster understeers a little bit more, having a bit of difficulty going through the final couple of turns there. So the big deal there is that Rajdi and Morian now having to taste this lap traffic as well as Yamin is. And I'm going to assume this is one of Koeman's strategies. The longer he stays out, the more chance that when he comes down pit road, everyone else will have pit. He won't have any traffic to race around.
And that's a very clever idea. I'm glad you pointed that out. So maybe Jan has sorted out his demons on that end. In the meantime, as far as pitting goes, Yeryanis is pitted. He went in lap 14. So did Simon Ayres and Hiro Kanaya. So starting to get more and more of these guys out of the way. As we watch, we'll start to get an idea if that's exactly what Jan Koemans is trying to do.
Giannis is right behind Yamin, and they're trying to work their way around Chuck Johnson, but the battle's going to get split here because Yamin has got by Johnson, puts a couple wheels in the gravel doing so, and Thomas Hallinan has came into the pits.
That's he's coming in from second place currently. So apparently I'm getting word that Amjad Yamin had run into someone, Jair Yanis, from what I'm hearing. So, and I see that Jer is going off track right now, actually, so he must have some severe damage to his car. That's not the way that Yaman wanted to weave through traffic, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and like I say, that it's something you wouldn't expect it. This is a 2.3-mile circuit with plenty of overtaking opportunities. I don't think anyone came down pit road with the intention, with even thinking, hey, I'm going to have to battle my way through traffic. You'd think that this would be a pretty good place to make passes.
Yeah, maybe that oval had rattled their brains a little too much, and they're still in that left turn mindset. Who knows? But it's worth noting that after all that and the difference in pit strategies, even though it was only a few laps, Rato is now ahead of Hallinan, but just barely. I'm pretty sure that the draft is going to pull Hallinan right back in because he's only maybe what looks like 6 car lengths behind Rato currently.
Yeah, closer than that now. They're going down the backstretch, and of course Hallinan's going to get a little bit of a draft here. And what, they have 8 laps left to go at the completion of this one, and so that's 8 more times that Rato and Hallinan have the opportunity of getting closer and closer together.
And Jan Koemans is definitely playing that late strategy. He's coming in on lap 16, so we'll see how he comes out. But I mean, with an 8-second gap last time by, I really doubt we're going to see much of a physical difference when he exits as far as the gap between himself and Hallinan and Rato.
Simon Palmer coming down pit road, so Trevor Mack, I believe, is going to go into the lead of this race.
Oh, that'll be a nice little feather in his cap, but unfortunately they don't reward bonus points for leading a lap in this series. But still, it's nice to be able to say that you did. Where did Trevor Mack actually start? He started in 12th, so that's not a bad little accomplishment for him. He was pretty solidly in the top mid-pack. And we haven't seen a whole lot of Trevor. He seems to have been running a pretty solid, pretty quiet race so far.
Yeah, lots of drivers playing this late strategy, Joe. There's Joe Zafaro coming down pit road and a couple of cars in front of him. I notice this is working. Jan Koemans came out of pit road, hardly any traffic in front of him. A couple of lap cars. Trevor Mack leading the race, obviously, but has to pit still. So really, unless another Road Atlanta scenario happens, knock on wood, Koemans should be taking another 100 points here.
Yeah, he's going to be hoping that no more black cats come across his path, because he's got this one pretty well wrapped up, like you said. I think last time by at the line it was nearly 13 seconds between himself and Rato, who was in 4th. Koemans came out in 2nd when he exited, but there is Eric Garcia between those guys, and we saw a little bit of him earlier in the race, but I don't believe he's pitted. I'm going to check on that real quick.
Yeah,
No. Go ahead.
yeah, the field a bit spread out behind them. See, Yarman's a couple of seconds back from those 2 drivers that we just mentioned. Then Arthur Tran has regained position in front of Morien and Rutschdry.
Well, we're hearing that Moran and Chan are in 7th and 8th currently, and Chan has definitely had an interesting race so far, but he's managed to mostly keep out of trouble besides a little bit of a tangle a little early on. 7th place isn't too bad, but I think we've seen better things from him so far.
Yeah, Mack and Garcia down pit road. I believe that'll finish out our pit stops with about 7 laps left to go here. And now, of course, the big question for the drivers who pitted early, like Arthur Tran, are we going to see them run out of fuel before the end of the race? Let's hope not. They do get good fuel readings on these cars. Eric Garcia, it looked like he selected reverse gear coming out of pit road there. And I believe there's been an incident with Benjamin Lanouette.
Well, that's not good. I was watching, who was it? Trevor Mack, I'm sorry, who exited in 5th or 6th position. I'm sorry, it's actually 7th position. He's just came out behind Arthur Chan, and he's got Stefan Morin right behind him right now. Is Morin going to take a look to the inside? He's right on his bumper, but no, he stays in line. Mack has definitely made this work for him, because he's moved up a number of positions, either through his merit or through pit stops or something.
Yeah, Lanawet, it was Arcadius Tedderix he got into the back of. There's currently a 4-car pack in the battle for 13th. Lanawet in front of Tedderix right now. Lanawet apologized, but it doesn't look like he's in a hurry to give 13th spot back.
You take what you can get sometimes. But yeah, and Tedderix has been known as one of the faster drivers. He's currently scored in 14th. I think we've mentioned before that we've expected to see him just a little bit higher up, but that just goes to show the depth of the talent in this series now that they've got, as it looks like there's a dive up the inside, and he's got the spot. Oh, but we've got contact between Tedderix and, or I'm sorry, that's Lanawet and Chuck Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson tried to make it 2 in 1, and Lanawet didn't want to give up that many spots in one corner.
Yeah, I think that was a little ambitious from Johnson. He saw something going on and he thought he could make a move. In fact, he just tried a little bit of a peek into turn 8 there. He wasn't close enough, though. That's a very short braking zone into that corner.
Alright, well, pit stops are over and there's still action. We can see it on screen. But Joe and I, real quick, we're going to run down the top 10 for you. Currently, the race order, Jan Koemans has about an 11-second lead over Rato. Hallinan not too far behind him. Andrzej Jarmin and Arthur Tran round out your top 5, Joe.
Then behind them, it's Stefan Mauriane in 6th, keeping them close and in check. Trevor Mack has fallen down to 7th behind Mauriane. And then Tom Rachi is in 8th, Sam McAleer in 9th, and Simon Palmer wraps out the top 10.
The field calm for now, but I have a feeling the storms are brewing. More than one storm, unfortunately, around this circuit. Well, fortunate for us. With six laps to go. Like I say, the backstretch, we were talking about it before the race. We've been talking about it during the race, and you can bet we're going to be talking about it in the final 6 laps. It is so easy to make a good pass going down into the hairpin. You can defend, and that's what makes it so great. A lot of side-by-side battles still to come.
In fact, there's one going on right now. Chuck Johnson got a really good run on Lanawet coming out of that. Oh, I'm sorry, that's yeah, that is Lanawet. The corner you just mentioned, they're under braking right now, heading into the hairpin. Chuck Johnson has got him. In fact, he's very cleanly by before they even get to the apex of the corner. So he takes 13th position away from Lanawet with ease.
Yeah, Tran, Morian and Mack are 5th, 6th and 7th running in the pack. Not much change right now though. Rato and Hallinan in 2nd and 3rd, still one behind the other. Like I say, still 5.5 laps left to go. And you got to wonder if Rato holding on to 2nd right now, and he's got to do everything he can to try and finish 2nd because he's only 52 points out of Koemans in the points. He's going to drop back a little bit if they finish the way they are now, but just one bad race from Koemans between now and the end of the season will really hurt him because of the amount of races he's missed, and Rato could be up there battling for the championship.
Yeah, every point always counts. Never give up on that. And it's worth noting, just to show you Jan Koeman's dominance, he is lapping over a second faster than Rato and Hallinan currently. So he's always got a little bit more up his sleeve, I think. And yeah, I agree with you. I think Rato, we're going to see him just do everything he can to make that car as wide as possible on this track, which is going to be tough because the passing zones are many. And Hallinan seems to have got quite a good run on him so far as pace goes. In fact, he takes a little bit of a peek in a 9, but can't really do anything there. Like I said, it takes catching someone sleeping to try and sneak something up the inside. But with 4 laps to go, you're going to see some attempts start to being made into that hairpin, I think, by Hallinan.
Scott Malcolm and Andy Morgan had a collision a couple of laps ago. Andy Morgan has retired from the race. He joins, let's see, Frieders is out of the race, Boland is out of the race, Giannis is 5 laps down, so I don't know if he's still in it. So a race of attrition at the back of the field, unfortunately.
Which is not something that I expected at this track. It's, even though it can catch you out on a few corners, not many of the walls are terribly close, so you're not really in too much danger from a spin. And We're currently watching Rato and Hallinan head towards turn 4 Atwood curve. Let's see if Hallinen's going to get a good exit. He's right on top of the bumper of Guillermo Rato. He's only got about a car length between him. He's going to close up as they head down the back straightaway. Is he going to take a look on the inside, getting close to that kink there? He's continuing to stay in line. He's not threatening. Yeah, there we go. He's starting to take a little bit of a look. Is he going to try and outbrake him? He's making an attempt, but he's not quite close enough. Rato holds him off, and they're coming up on, this looks like Scott Malcolm, actually. So they're going to have to try and navigate this traffic as Malcolm spins and Rato takes to the grass. This is going to give Hallinan the chance. He looks at the inside. Rato somehow holds him off into the corner. Wow, good stuff from Rato. I'm amazed that he held on to that position.
Unfortunately, not as great of a race for Ben Tucker and Jonathan Keir. They got together just a few turns ago, driving their battered cars around the track. Ben Tucker seems to think his car is okay enough. He's going to keep it on track. I don't know about Jonathan, though. But yeah, and the leaders, a battle we're watching for second, catching up on this damaged car. So, of course, lap traffic could always become an issue before the end of this race.
It seems to be the case around this track, despite its length and despite the fact that we had more cars than this on the short version. So that's an interesting development. Hallinen's continuing to hound Rato. I think he's going to be ruining that lost opportunity. I think he should have stuck it in a little bit farther because Rato was way off course. He didn't seem to have lost a lot of time, but it was a chance that he's got to take for a second place, which I don't think he's achieved that high of a finish so far this year.
Well, that's because we haven't seen him a whole lot this year. I'm just checking my stats here. He has one win in the Blondies series, not this season though. The driver from Finland, currently running in 3rd place, 2.5 laps left to go. And so, like you say, he's got to make a move. And if he knows that Rado's battling for the championship, he should not be too afraid to make a pass, because I don't... If they do collide, and there's a collision between lap cars in front of him, and Rado's got a bit of damage, is that going to hurt him? Hallinan takes a look through Piper, but remains in 3rd place, but Rado definitely has damage. If these two cars go out, Yarman's going to finish in 2nd, and let's not forget that he's up there in the points too.
Yeah, that's why we call him the doctor, always there to pick up the pieces and surprise everybody. But yeah, I think this is going to cause Rato to be quite vulnerable. The lap traffic was getting into each other and he just didn't expect it. His nose is definitely bunched up right now. It's looking like a bit of a pug in that car. So Hallinen's probably going to get that opportunity that he wanted. I think you're right. Rato, even though he's fighting for everything, he wants to finish. So he's got to fight with some discretion. In fact, we're going to see the difference now between these two cars. Rato didn't get that great of an exit, and combined with his damage, he goes very far inside. Hallinan still peaks on the inside. Rato's going to move back to the line. They're going to try and outbrake each other. They're coming up on lap traffic, and Rato has to give up the position.
Rato had no straight line speed. Hallinan just looked on the outside of him on that straight, and he just got it. And this is actually a blessing in a way for Rato that he's in 3rd now, because
but there's traffic holding them up. I'm sorry to interrupt. Hallinan got held up by traffic as they headed through the curves there, and now Rato's trying to outbrake him on the outside of Atwood. That's going to compromise the entry of Hallinan. He might get a good enough exit to catch him. He's definitely going to need the draft to hold on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's going to be a blessing. Rato, with that car that looks like a pug, in your words. It's beautiful if it gets 2nd, and right now he's going to try and do that as they come into the hairpin.
He's too far back. Unfortunately, he lost the draft there. He closes up under braking, but he's definitely at a disadvantage from what we can tell, even after only a few straightaways.
Yeah, Mihai Messerson is the next driver in front of him. And now they're spreading out. Hallinen's got several car lengths on Rado now, so I guess that damage is hurting him. Once they get by Messerson, it looks like it's clear sailing from then on. A very late opportunity by Hallinan, but Messerson uses his mirrors. He knows he's there, and doesn't give him a spot yet, though, and that's going to help Rado close in a little bit.
Well, it seems to be tit for tat here, because Henry Connaught was holding up, he wasn't giving way to Rato as well. I'm guessing those two are battling for position, which is why they were so averse to try and give way. white flag is in fact out right now, but man, those guys were not making friends on that lap.
Yeah, no, Koeman's probably just listening to all what's going on behind him, saying, hey, this race looks pretty clean from this point. He's got a 16-second lead over this battle. Like I say, top 5, Koemans, Halonen, Rato, Yarmin, Chan, still holding off Morian and Mack for 5th.
In fact, let's hop back to that, because Morian's quite close to Arthur Chan, and he's only got maybe 2 or 3 car lengths between the two of them, and we've seen them be pretty close in pace because they've been battling each other for a number of laps now.
Yeah, I believe it looks like Palmer lost a spot to Ratchi on the last lap, and he lost a lot of time in doing so, so that battle kind of got spread out a little bit.
They're coming through Atwood Curve right now, so Morian's going to catch that draft. Let's see if he has enough to close in. Again, this is the final lap, so this is going to be one of his last opportunities. In fact, this is really the last good braking zone on this track. So if he's going to do it, he's got to do it now. Heading towards the braking zone now. Let's see if he's close enough. If he's pretty far back, I don't think he's got anything for him. In fact, he stays right in line. Well, in the meantime, I see that Jan Koemans is starting to get close to the end of the lap. Would you like to call it there?
He is very close to the end of the lap. In fact, he is in the last turn right now, appropriately named as he comes out the turn, cleanly executed. A brilliant race, flawlessly put together by Jan Koemans for his 5th victory of the season.
Good on him. In the meantime, Halonen is continuing to hold off as they're coming through the final corner with Rato behind him. As Halonen weaves in celebration, he knows he's got it now. This is an excellent second place from the Finn. And, you know, all you had to say was that he was finished, and I would have told you that's probably why.
To finish first, you must first be finished. It looks like Morian was close to Tran on the final lap there in the battle for 5th, but he got the spot. Tran got the spot, so no changes for position there. And we're watching the final cars come across the line right now. We'll see if there's any more battles for you.
I never heard that phrase used in that fashion, but it's a good compliment to the Finns, I guess. So good on you for that one. So yeah, as you said, looking down the line, Trevor Mack finished 7th, Simon Palmer finished 8th, Tom Ratji finished 9th, and then Sam McAleer finishes out the top 10.
Yeah, I've got to confess, some Finnish driver in this race posted it in the chat before the race, and I can't remember who it is to credit with it, but whoever it was, thanks. That's certainly a quote I'd like to use in future broadcasts. But boy, there is no stopping Koemans. I've got to admit, when I didn't get to see the oval race live last week, and I came into the race thinking, well, I wonder how bad Koemans did. I know his ovals aren't his cup of tea, and then I looked at it and it said he won, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
There really is no stopping this guy. He's even the areas that he thinks he's weak, he seems to be just dominating everybody. So Koemans is making himself a force to be remembered, that's for sure. He's already won some championships, but he's going to add to his tally. So why don't we head down the race results, since we're going to bring those up in a second here, Sam?
Well, we've already mentioned it about 100 times. Koemans was victorious here at Okayama today. Halonen finishing 2nd in, I believe, only his 2nd race this season. Rato is 3rd, Yarman was 4th, the Doctor only able to pull out a 4th place finish today, but that's still going to do well for him in the points, and Arthur Chan quietly getting the 5th place finish.
And 6th place we've got Stefan Morian. Then 7th, Trevor Mack, who we haven't seen much in this series, is definitely moving his way up the field. He finished 7th. Simon Palmer finished 8th, Tom Ratji finished 9th, and then Sam McAleer came home in 10th. Behind him, Eric Garcia was 11th, and then Dexter Castro finished 12th. And I believe we're going to be going to break here, Sam.
Yes, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back soon with driver interviews. And we're back here at the Global Sim Racing channel, and we have drivers ready to tell us how their race went. And the first of those is the driver who finished first, Jan Koemans, victorious here today at Okayama. Jan, we didn't get to see a whole lot of you, honestly, because there were a couple of interesting battles for second. It looked like that race was a piece of cake to you. I assume it wasn't, though. Tell us how it went.
Well, it was pretty easy after Joe Freitas went off, but it was lucky for me as well because I was really suffering the first half from. I developed a wicked tooth pain a couple hours ago, and I could really barely see from the pain. I was thinking of quitting, so my lap time's really suffering. And if Joe Freitas was still around, I'm sure he would have passed me. Fortunately, after the pit stops, I started feeling a bit better, so it was pretty easy after that.
Now, we noticed you made a very late pit stop in the race, and that helped you avoid the lap traffic. What was that part of your plan? Was that planned from the get-go?
Well, if I'm in the lead and I have a couple seconds behind me, then I will just drive till my tank's empty, basically. Because if I pit early, I'll just meet traffic which hasn't pitted yet. So if you're in the lead, it makes sense to pit as late as possible, unless you have to break the draft or something. I think I had one more lap. I could have driven one more lap, but it was a bit tight, so I decided to come in.
Well, this is your 25th 25th Blondies victory. How does it rank among them?
25. I wasn't counting. It's okay. I think I've had more interesting ones, but I was just glad to get to the finish for this one.
Well, certainly. Congratulations on your win here today, Jan. And we look forward to seeing you next week at the Lime Rock Chicane.
Thank you very much. See you guys next week.
All right. Fourth place across the line today was Amjad Yamin, the doctor. We're gonna get him into the broadcast booth right here. Joe, do you want to talk to him?
Yeah, Amjad, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Amjad, fourth place, obviously not as good as your first place finish at the season opener here, but would you consider this one respectable? Or are you glad you salvaged that much?
Yeah, I mean, started fourth, finished fourth. I mean, the three guys were faster than me, so yeah, I think I maxed out today.
It looked like there was quite a bit of traffic problems for a lot of people out there, and I believe you actually had a tangle with Yer Yanis at one point. What happened there?
Yeah, just dealing with the traffic that hasn't pitted yet. I kind of went outside of one of the zones, did a little half spin, and then Yeri just kind of slammed into me. I mean, I hope it's just a racing deal, but sorry to you, Yeri.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys will probably have to have a few words after the race. Before you came into this one, you were 37 points back behind Jan Koemans, and obviously this is going to set you back a little farther. Do you think you can pull anything out of the bag and run them down before the season's over?
Hey, this is racing. Anything can happen. I'm just going to do it one race at a time.
I like that attitude. Well, next week is Lime Rock Park Chicane. I know, me personally, I'm not a fan of Lime Rock Park. What are your feelings on that track layout?
I actually like Lime Rock, but I've never done the chicane, so that should be interesting.
So it'll be a new experience for you. Well, do you have any shout-outs or sponsors you'd like to thank?
Well, I just want to thank Child's Play, charity that I like to sponsor. Do great work for the hospitals and for the kids in the hospitals, so really appreciate it.
Absolutely a worthy cause. Well, thanks for coming and talking to us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, behind Amjad, we've got Arthur Chan, who finished fifth, since our podium didn't seem to want to come in today. So we've dragged Arthur in. Sam, would you like to talk to Arthur?
Yeah, certainly. Arthur, this is Samuel Ryman from the Global Sim Racing channel. You made an early pit stop there. How did that? Do you regret pitting that early?
No, actually worked out perfect for me. I started in ninth day, and coming out of turn 8 on the second lap, I got tipped around by Yao Freitas. Through no fault of his own, really. I think I got a little bit loose, and I was a little bit unpredictable, so that sent me way back down to around 20th place. So I just put in my laps, and once I hit my pit window, I was at that time I was caught up behind some slower traffic, so it seemed like the perfect time to pull into the pits. I went into the pit, took 2 left side tires, the minimum amount of fuel, and came out. And I think it worked out really well for me because I think it dragged me up from probably around 15th place up to about 6th or so.
It seems like, with the exception of Indianapolis last week, you have a healthy run of top 10 finishes going on, and you were sitting 5th in the points coming into this race. Are you still thinking that the championship is a possibility, or what's your goal right now heading into the final several races of the season?
Well, my goal is always to really give 100%. I think it's clear that I can't keep up with maybe the top 3 guys in the league, but my goal is always to do my very best. Could have had a good finish in Indianapolis last weekend as well, but I had an internet connection drop because I was coming out of the pits with Jan at that time. So I'm always just going to keep pushing and do the best I can, and you never know, I could get some luck like I did today and get some good results.
Yes, certainly. Lime Rock Chicane coming up next week. But before we go there, though, I've got to ask, is there any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, our team, Turn 2 Motorsports, is sponsored by Petrol Data Systems and SoloStorm.
All right, well, we're glad they could make that all happen for you. We wish you the best of luck at Lime Rock next week, and keep up the good work, Arthur.
Thanks, Sam. Looking forward to the next race.
All right, now it looks like we have Dexter Castro in the booth. Joe, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Dexter, today was not your day from what we saw. You got into a little bit of a tangle early on in the race. Some lap traffic spun in front of you, I believe, was it?
No, I think it was actually Eric Garcia and John Kuhneman got together, and John just rolled right into my path.
Oh, that's right. We didn't see a whole lot of you after that. How did the rest of your race go? Did you run into a lot of trouble? Did you manage to make anything up through pit stops?
Not really. I just ended up just running about 2 seconds off my pace and just hoping to keep Teeter and whoever was with him and Chuck Johnson behind me at the end. And luckily they fought enough that I managed to finish it, but just not the finish I would have liked.
Yeah, we've seen you higher than 12th place before. Do you think you can get back onto the podium at Lime Rock since you managed one last time we were there?
I wish I could, but unfortunately I'm missing the next 2 races. Just something that's been scheduled for a while and I can't really change it, but hopefully whatever comes after that I'll get back near the top. Maybe a break will turn out well.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of a refresher is needed. Well, do you have any sponsors or anything anyone you'd like to thank?
I'm considering putting Target on my rear quarter panels.
Fair play.
I mean, the speed's there. I just keep getting run into by everything possible.
Yeah, I give you that much. But yeah, let's hope that maybe you can get a clean one out of the way, because you definitely have had some bad luck. You've been looking a little bit like Arthur Chan lately, unfortunately. We'll hope to see you in a few weeks' time.
Yep, see ya.
Well, our last driver in the booth right here that we've got to interview is John Kuhneman, who was involved in that early incident Dexter talked about. Kuhneman, how did the race go from your perspective?
You know, it wasn't too bad. The qualifying wasn't good. This track isn't one of my strong ones. I tend to overdrive it and can't figure out the last third of the track. And that incident with Eric and I was, I apologize to Dex and Arthur and everybody else that got caught up into it. That was just an unfortunate thing.
Yeah, certainly. You started 16th and you finished 16th, and you say, I'm sorry if I missed it, you say this isn't your best track, so are you satisfied with how it ended up?
Considering the incident that happened, I was really hoping to get into the top 10. I felt like I could, I was trying to stick with Tom Rathje, and, Eric Garcia was in between him and I for a little bit, and I was racing him as clean as I could, and I never came in contact with him, and he started overdriving the car, and I went around him on lap 6, and he came back in and bumped me and sent me around, and I was really, really hoping to stick with Rathje and get a top 10 here today, but wasn't to be.
Well, we're sorry to hear that, John. We certainly thank you for coming in to talk with us, though, and we wish you the best at Lime Rock.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. You guys do a lot of good work. Appreciate Blondies putting this all together, and you guys, thanks a lot.
Well, that's all we have time for here today on the Global Sim Racing channel. We hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. We would like to thank the Blondies Bar in Long Beach, California, the official sponsor of the MX5 World Tour. We also want to thank the makers of all the software and hardware we use on this stream, including iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch.tv, Ava Media, and Audio Technica. If you'd like to find out more about the Global Sim Racing channel, check us out at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, where we also have archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter as @GSR Channel, and you can also find us on Facebook. Our next race will be at 6 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, next weekend at Lime Rock, where a tricky chicane will try its best to topple our top contenders. For Ayrton, Dro, Giancarlo, and the rest of the Global Sim Racing channel, I'm Samuel Ryman saying so long everyone, and we'll see you on the track.